者のご紹介です。スローミスト流出運営責任者ジャン・チェン様、ベオシンセキュリティ責任者ジャスパー金竹様、CertiKソリューションアーキテクト責任者コニー・ラム様、Webacy共同創設者磯川舞香様、Fairyproof共同創設者アンジェラ・トン様、これより皆様に Web3 普及に向けてコード監査に求められる基準について対談いただきます。それではよろしくお願いします。
はい、皆さんこんにちは。改めてこの次のパネルディスカッションに入りたいと思います。So, we have a very excellent group of panelists today to speak on a very popular and important topic, particularly here in Asia and Japan. So we'll be speaking about blockchain security, code auditing, and everything under the sun when it comes to these things. So without further ado, I think we should start off with personal introductions and company introductions. So maybe Jian, we can start with you from here.
Hey everyone, my name is Jian. I'm with Slowmist Security. So we were founded in 2018 and we were one of the first blockchain security companies. We're based in Xiamen, Singapore, Hong Kong, and I'm based in the US. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Jasper. I'm the blockchain security engineer and researcher at Beosin. We are a security company based in Singapore, and we are specialized in code auditing and public chain safety. I used to be a cybersecurity engineer before I discovered crypto, and now I'm just really passionate about everything blockchain security. Thank you.
So, hi everyone, my name is Connie. I'm currently the head of solution architect and overseeing the art and business line CertiK. So CertiK, we are a Web3 security company. We were founded by two academic professors from Yale and Columbia. So we are specializing in Web3, code auditing, code verifications, and also on-chain analysis and things like that.
Hi, I'm Angela, and from Fairyproof. We are a Web3 security company, and we established back to 2017. But at that time, we only opened our services to our group. So until 2021, we opened our services to the public. So for myself, I used to be the co-founder of Finance, which is the top one blockchain media. So I'm focused on content and operation and code. So if I have anything wrong about the technical, I will say that I'm so sorry. And then yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, panelists. And myself, my name is Mike Isagawa. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called Webacy. We are a security layer, so we are not a code auditor like many of the companies here on stage, along with all the rest of the things you do, but we are a consumer-facing application layer. My background, I used to perform for Cirque du Soleil. I was also a cybersecurity engineer with Microsoft before starting the company in 2021. So now, to dive into security, I think one of the keynote speakers said yesterday, very importantly, that particularly in Japan, safety and security, anzen and anshin, is very top of mind when it comes to building. And so I'd like to start off with a question about the differences of security when it comes to Web3 versus Web2. So maybe we can start with Angela. What are some of the new considerations of Web3 that did not exist in Web2 when it comes to security?
Thank you so much. Between Web2 and Web3, I think we will see the difference between the applications, because on Web3 we have a smart contract, right? And also when we launched our smart contract, especially in permissionless blockchain, we can't downgrade it. But in Web2 we can downgrade the code, and so in Web3 we have to audit before we launched our audit before we launch it, because if we want to, even though your smart contract can be upgradable, it will take some more time to review it and fix it if you have any issue. and you have to downgrade it, and you have to make sure all the issues repaired, and it will take very long time compared to Web 2's code, because there are comprehensive issues. Yeah. I think, and also in Web 2, like you don't have so many conference between you and your users, like because you don't have retail investors. But in Web3, you have, because you have tokens, right? And you have to talk to your community, your users, your long-term investors, and to tell them, oh, now we maybe have to stop this smart contract. We have to stop this DF or something. We have to move to another new things, and that will also make the process be much longer than we in Web2. Thank you.
Right, and the immutability of the blockchain really makes things difficult to make mistakes, especially in small segments. It's a really good point. Do you have a comment on that?
So when it comes to Web 2 and Web 3 security, just like reminding you, it's not separate. So a lot of times we'll think like, oh, we're a Web 3 company, hey, we're going to get an audit and then we're done. But I like to think of it as Web 2 and Web 3, you're building security on top of Web 2. So a lot of times we'll forget about the Web 2 aspect, but I like to think like, hey, it's all together. It's more complex. It's not separate. It's you're building. It's like a building block. You're building on top of it.
Yeah, I think one good example to bring up this point about Web 2 and Web 3 is that a lot of Web 3 projects and NFT projects have Discords, right, which is typically a Web 2 based platform. So if your Web 2 admin account gets hacked, you could post a link that could be for a malicious place, right? So it's both Web 2 and Web 3 security thinking about that. Either of you want to add anything?
Yes. So as a security engineer, transition from Web 2 to Web 3, I can attest that exploits and hacks in Web 3 usually cause a lot more damage than exploits that in Web 2. Billions of dollars have been lost due to different vulnerabilities in smart contracts, and it's usually directly affect people's assets. For example, when users lost their private keys, usually game over, the attacker can transfer all their assets and compromise their safety. So, this.
Yeah.
So I think like right now, I think a lot of people get awareness about the smart contract audit, but this definitely is not the entire blockchain. There is a few other areas we could think about is tokenomic design, governor DAO, because like the blockchain is a decentralized actions. So right now, like not too many people were emphasizing to getting an analysis on how their governance mechanism has been like designed. All these type of maybe incentivization mechanism are intended, because like in blockchain, tokenomic and code is the two cannot separate each other because they grow together. So I would say like compared to Web3, there is a lot more, not just like from a security perspective, but also think about like the incentivization mechanism. Yeah.
I just wanted to add to Jasper's comment earlier. So when it comes to like Web3, Web 2 hacks, you're thinking about people's like email, phone number getting compromised. But when it comes to like Web 3 hacks, like Jasper said earlier, once someone gets access to your private key, there's pretty much like nothing you can do because that's what gives them access to your funds. And then in Web 3, like the tokens, they have actual value. Not to say like there's no value in like your personal information, but like that's something kind of like a social security card. That's something that like you can go to like government, get a new one. It's a pain, but it's a lot different than like losing your like Bitcoin or losing your like USDT. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Another thing I want to add is in traditional Web 2 world, different companies' website or infrastructure they are separated. But in the Web 3 world, everything is decentralized. So there are cross-chain bridges for different public chains. And with that mechanism, there's bound to be different vulnerabilities. And usually, hacks for cross-chain bridges cost the company billions of dollars, and the system is very difficult to design because of the different components that goes into that. And also for DeFi, we should call it DeFi level because there are so many different components, and we can basically compound them with different protocols, and that increases the difficulties for having a security posture.
Yeah, 100%. I think that we've seen a lot of interconnected mistakes take down both centralized and decentralized systems in the past years. So it's very, you all bring up a lot of security considerations, which brings me to another big topic to talk about is I think a lot of users and companies are very interested in Web3, but might be hesitant because of the fear or concern when it comes to security and securing their systems. Connie, maybe you can take this next question. What is it going to take to set the path for mass adoption in Web3?
This is a question I just got challenged with this morning, but yeah, how can we apply, or maybe how can we scale the Web3 more security? I think like in common practice, right, what we can learn from the traditional Web2 is regulations or maybe like standard. Can we setting up a standard for come across with the best practice in a security framework? I think first of all, this would be definitely having like a checklist or maybe guidance for developer to follow at the time when they brainstorming what kind of application they want to build. And there is a few of the area maybe or maybe like tips that could be shared for project founder or maybe like for engineer at the time when they were start designing their Web3 journey. I would say first, maybe think about clearly what are the requirements you want to build. Second is maybe keep also some of the security by design in mindset. So in this stage, this is really important. If you know like what are the core features you want to build, and you can able to like break down some of the risk factor or maybe who are the actor could be impacted by this feature. By just breaking down all this like threat modeling, it will helping you or maybe like helping the project to understand and analyze what are the risks will be incoming. And second is, this also could be helping project team to learn a little bit what kind of area they are lacking specialties, so they can find the security company or maybe professional company ahead of time, rather than always waiting for the last urgency timeline to deploy it. So I would say like, and then the third one will be after designing, the security by design. Setting up some of the best practice like coding practice. This is very common and generally used in the Web2, any of the software developments, right? You can also cover some of the true static analysis in order to helping everyone getting the same standard of the code. Cooperate with the testing. CI/CD pipeline is really important. And also at the end will be like laying out breakdown. Encourage doing a code review at the time when they were doing the development side. But after all, this is not end of the application. As I mentioned, that Web3 is a very unique area because it's formed by community. But community is actually come from venture capital investment, project owner who building, and also the user who are using the application. And each of them, they will have their own, security awareness, like where the risk will be lays on, so they can do all their own job in order to, providing ahead of, assessment. So means that education is really important. So I would say like project owner definitely take the responsibility, not just educate the user how to use the software itself, but also will have to awareness where will be the risk introduced for the end user or maybe the investment people. The reason is because Web3 compared to Web2 is quite different because Web3 user take the ownership to control your own data. Meaning that you should also take your responsibility to secure your own data. So this is something that education is really important for every single of the participant in the network itself. So, and then at the end, we'll be definitely adding a little bit more than monitoring tooling to understand where the risk is coming across. And also, at the end, it's like once that all this type of setup has been done, it will help him to do the compliance. So meaning that every single project that jump in, if they follow all this like standard practice, it will help them to scale in a very more fast but secure way.
Absolutely. So proper planning, partnering with a security company that specializes in this, which we have many options for. And yeah, engineering practices. Jasper, I'm curious as an engineer what you think.
Yeah, I want to add one thing. Like crypto needs basically more a simplified user base to get mass adoption. So for example, right now, users have a really difficult time managing their own private keys, and basically will there are a lot of like phishing incidents in the crypto space, and people don't get alert usually. And once the transactions are made, they are usually irreversible. And in order for mass adoption, we not only need better user education, but design a system that will simplify the security process and just make everyone's assets safer.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback off what Jasper said. So, for like really mass adoption, I think it all comes down to the users. So if they're having a great experience or not. So if a user comes in and then like they don't really know anything, all it takes is like 2-3 clicks for social engineering, and then like now their assets are gone. So like one thing that MetaMask did is they kind of got rid of the ease transfer function. Essentially, it gave access to somebody. Once you click approve, it gave them access to pretty much like everything in your wallet. So that was a nice thing that they did. They got rid of that function. Or like they used to have like a red label saying, "Hey, are you sure you want to do this?" So one thing that I think projects can do is like kind of like create. We can kind of like set up like a standard practice, like, hey, maybe there's really no reason why you need this function. And another thing is the education for users. One of our co-founders, he actually wrote the blockchain dark forest guide, and essentially it's kind of like a beginner's guide into crypto, how to safely navigate the Web3 space. And then another thing we do for our Twitter account is we actually post like regular updates on the most recent scams, all the recent hacks. So like that kind of like comes down to the users itself to kind of like educate yourself on, hey, how to spot scams, how to spot like to make sure like, hey, maybe like you don't want to click on these links. That's all.
I think user education will continue to be at the forefront of driving mass adoption over time. I think one thing we don't reflect enough on is the reason we need so much security for the most part is because we have malicious actors in the space, right? If everyone was rainbows and butterflies and had positive intentions, we probably would not need so much security because people wouldn't be taking advantage of vulnerabilities. But we all know hackers are very smart and they're very motivated because this money is there. So I'd like to ask you all, and then Angela, we can start with you. Hackers are very innovative. How do you stay ahead? How does your company stay ahead of new hacks and scams?
Okay, thank you. So I have to say something. Is that okay? Yeah, because I think this is from the technical angle. For how could we staying ahead before the hackers, I think we have something we really treasure. So first is our system already conducts regular security assessment to the whole blockchain ecosystem, and this is to assess the security posture to identify vulnerable vulnerabilities. So the weakness in the ecosystem. So this is how we can address the potential security threats before they can exploit it. So the second is that we staying up to date with the latest attack and patterns and hackers' behavior. So this is done by our system and ensure that any known issues, patterns, and behaviors addressed. And the third is to use advanced technologies. As a blockchain security company, it is crucial for use leverage advanced technologies, including applying zero knowledge and MPC to provide most solutions, and we use AI and a lot of things to detect and prevent cyber threats. So and then at last we train our employees, the people on stage, they all talk about the education. I don't think we have to educate ourselves at the first the staff. So then the long-term investors, because if we all on the stage, we are security companies. If our employees, including me, and also maybe someone who in charge of the social media side, we don't know the threats out there, and we cannot give a hit to the developers. So I think education is very important too. Thank you.
Yeah, security 100% starts with people. Any of you want to add anything?
So in order to stay ahead, we always conduct cutting-edge research. So for example, currently we already incorporate AI in our proprietary auto detection system, BOS, and we always try to refine our results based on audit experience. In addition, we also leverage the power of community. So in our alert Twitter account, we interact with different community members online, trying to get ahead of abnormal transactions on different blockchains. And because there are so many independent researchers and auditors, and a lot of them are white hat and just trying to do bug bounties, we can use people's talents and to our own benefits and protect ourselves from the malicious actors.
Thank you. And we're very quickly approaching the end of the panel, but I do want to have a chance to ask all of you one more question. So as a company enters the space and wants to pick a security partner, they now have many options when it comes to code audit, security reviews, and other kinds of partners. So briefly, we'd love to hear from each of you how your company differentiates yourself in the market. Jen, maybe you can start with you.
Yeah, thank you. So essentially with Slowmist, we're very selective on who our clientele is. One of the things we do right now is we're pretty much only referral based. So that kind of helps us establish this trust, because trust is the most important thing. Once a project gets hacked or rugged, that's pretty much over. Another thing we do is, so we like to use automated and manual audit process, just because they kind of helps reduce the vulnerabilities. That's pretty much it for me.
I think one thing differs our company apart from other companies is our strong academic background. There are professors and academic researchers in our teams, and we always stay updated with the different technologies. We support different public chains written in Solidity, Rust, and Move. And we also have our own proprietary auditing tools called BAS. And we conduct auditing usually in a team of 5 to 6 experts. And everyone will have different roles in terms of pinpoint different parts of the system, and to avoid oversight in terms of missing vulnerabilities in smart contract auditing.
I think what Jian has mentioned is pretty good. As a security company firm, we should be selective on the project, because you don't want to work with those scamming team. But think about on the other way around is, what if this team have a lack of a security company to support, so they can do whatever they want, they're just launching their product, they're still able to get in mass adoption from the user that were lack of knowledge. So from CertiK, we definitely build our technology in order to scale our capability. Maybe utilizing, combining not just the security audit, but also scanning it. We start cooperating a lot of other projects, performing some of the existing tools that we have that were aggregated and learned from the past, auditing experience. And we display the results because, again, I think that each of the security companies have their maximum capacity, right? But right now, a lot of projects are looking for opportunity, and including the community user. So from certain perspective, I would say we are building our tech stack, not just from manual review, static analysis tool. AI definitely will be a quick and dirty solutions because AI definitely depends on how much data you aggregate it. And those good quality data, you definitely can train a really good model. But right now, I think that there is really hard on the to measurement the data quality that we can get in from the Web3. So I would say that this is a general improvement progress.
Thank you so much. So I don't know if that makes us difference between each other, but we triggered three things. So first is we not only review the code issue as Connie mentioned, we will review all the token economy and also the governance issue. And we are not only uncover the issue, and we work very closely with our clients and to provide our solution to them. And the second is we already provide a lot of free tools to long-term investors, retail investors, and all those things plus AI and other cut-edge technical. And the last is that we already launched our comprehensive ecosystem and to help to find real-time issues and to solve in real time. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, panelists, for all of your insights. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
それでは皆さん大きな拍手をお願いいたします。では、皆様にはこちらにご講談いただきます。